Hey there, everybody, and welcome to the FitELITE Strong podcast, where we believe in being strong for life. That means being strong for your everyday life now and into the future. And today we're going to go into episode 3 of our podcast. I got Dave here with us again. Corey, what's up, fellas? Corey, what we got on the agenda for today?
Today, I thought we would talk about personal training, private training. A big part of what we do here. Dave's been doing it for over 20 years. Shane's been doing it for a decade or more.
Or more.
Yeah, I feel like you're calling me old.
No. Well,
Listen, guys, no, if you think it's old, if you've been doing it for longer than you've been alive and people have been alive, then he's been doing this since the 1900s.
The 1900s.
is that true?
That is a true statement.
That is long. Because we're in the 2020s.
We are, yep. We are now in the 2020s.
30 years removed.
I mean, at least 26 years removed.
Yeah, if you're 99.
Correct. That's how the math works.
Wouldn't it be 27?
No, I mean, we're not going to get into this right now, Corey. But like, if he started like in November of 99, we wouldn't be 27 yet.
Oh, that's how math works. Got it.
Yeah. So that's okay. Math's hard sometimes. Right. We'll probably get off track a lot here. Yeah, I would say I started in 2012. So 13 years of personal training.
And I started in 2018.
Look at you, just a pup.
For lots of wisdom.
Well, benefit of 30, 40 years of personal training.
Oh, now he's calling us old. Got it.
Together. No, it's combined. It's combined. Okay, so I think we're going to try to differentiate what's different between a group class and personal training. So that's why we have both Shane and Dave here today. So we can kind of understand from the founder and then the co-owner, Shane, of the thought process behind why we do both and the benefits of personal training.
Yeah, I mean, I think we started early on with our class experience and what that looks like in the podcast series, and how beneficial that connection can be, how you can really gain benefit in your strength and progress over time. And so I think it is, I think that there's a value in both ways of fitness, and I think it's important to differentiate. Okay, when is one a better fit for me than another, and I think it's really up to each person what fits best in what their needs are, what they're looking for, and what their budget looks like. So.
Yeah, I think it's like Shane just said, it's personal preference. In terms of finances is a big thing too. But there's there's obviously different factors that play into that with both the financial and then the personal side to it as well. I was just thinking overall, like the why someone chooses personal training over a class style. And again, there's a lot of different factors that play into that, but I think the big factor is accountability. Just to the simple fact of individuals wanting to be scheduled for an appointment. I know you and I have talked about that many times over about just people wanting to be scheduled for something that keeps them accountable. I mean, there's so much accountability in so many different facets of life. And what we do professionally is keep them accountable. I know there's a lot of other factors that we'll talk about. I'll let you guys jam about some of those as well.
Yeah, that accountability piece was, I've actually had the conversation a lot of times that people, it's a great place to either start or stay because they know they have an appointment. And especially with busy people, when they have appointments, they're more likely to stay engaged and hold those appointments as opposed to the opportunity to schedule and the opportunity to cancel. When you have a person that's an individual person that's you're accountable to, I think that creates a higher level of engagement and accountability for sure. So I think that's been huge. It's huge for me to make sure I set it in my schedule. And if I have it set in my schedule, it's very easy. I told a lot of clients this, like my office is upstairs from the gym floor. I get a lot of, what do you do? Just work out all day? I'm like, honestly, it becomes, but thank you for asking. But more along the lines of like, it's very easy to get lost in your work and not step away to go do those things. And so having the appointment, the work's going to be there when I get back. And I'm honestly more efficient with my work. when I do schedule those things out. I totally tell if I have a few days that don't schedule that in, my work efficiency goes ways down because I have this extra free time. And you fill it with random stuff that, I don't know, I think they are isn't as important, doesn't move the needle the same ways.
I think touching on that accountability piece is one-on-one, you get to know somebody so much more deeply. There's a lot more trust built in that faster, I should say. It's built faster, so you kind of understand the person, they understand you, you both kind of understand how each other operate, and then you can kind of call them on some of the things that they might bring up of why they can't make it. So there's just more of that understanding and trust built up faster to where you can get a little more honest.
You can ask hard questions, right? Or give them the hard truths a little easier because you built the trust and rapport.
And that's not to say that trust isn't built in a group class with your coach that you're with, but sometimes it could be a different coach day to day. But it's not like you're seeing the same person.
I think it's the deep dive.
I would say depth. Yep.
That was, I mean, when you said deep, and I was like, yep, that's definitely it. It's the deep dive that you can address. Whether you're seeing them 2 to 4 or 5 times a week, you can ask more challenging questions as to what's going on. And I think we could probably go into the next piece, the results.
Yeah.
I think the results for private training can be a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Than in a group setting.
Was I think that, the reason being is it's really fine tuned for you individually, right? Yeah. So like the class, we have a template, right? This is what the workout looks like, and we can adjust things for you. Whereas if I come in and you have a client, like Dave is saying, if you have a client who is, maybe they're on a weight loss track, well, we can really fine tune exactly what they're doing and dive a little bit deeper into that. And so you're going to get the results either way, right? And I think we've talked about this before is you're going to get to the same place whether you're Ferrari or like I don't want to throw another car under the bus, or some kind of sedan, right? It doesn't go as fast as a Ferrari. You're in the same destination, but you might get it a little faster than a Ferrari if you put the pedal to the metal. And so that's kind of the same ideas. You can hone in on things and get the results a little bit faster. Not that you wouldn't get it the other way, but a little bit faster because it's specific to you.
And I think you're going to get results in both the class and private training. Don't get me wrong. We've seen it countless times through the years of FitELITE being here. I think the other big piece, when I talk about results, it's also about the conversations you're having. It's hard to have like those more in-depth conversations, right? When you're in the floor, you're coaching in the class, and then when you're one-on-one. And just like you guys said, that trust is built. That mental, emotional side to life, I think you need to address that a little bit more as those questions go.
Right, because you're just there together for that 30 to 60 minutes, where the conversations are very different. The conversation about like everyday life things that we all go through are a little bit deeper in that setting that you can dive into in between sets. Like, okay, well, how do you handle that? Or talking through those things, because part of that health and wellness is the exercise, part of nutrition, sleep, stress. Well, we can have a conversation with people specifically about their life although we're in a gym setting, in a little bit more of a private setting, you can really learn a lot more about people and have ways to help them a lot more.
So also with the results, in a class style to a private training session, we're all cueing and correcting and coaching, whether you're in a class or you're in a one-on-one. But with a one-on-one, it's very, dynamic. It's drilled into one person. You can really change things very quickly. As in, in a class setting, you could have, 15 to 20 people. You're still doing cueing and correcting. You're doing it all the time. But it's hard to get back to people. So you're constantly moving, as opposed to just when you're training with 1 or 2 people, you can really hone in on their mechanics of exercise.
Right.
What would you guys say would be surprising to somebody new coming in that we do for personal training?
Well, I think that understanding that personal training isn't just about the work that we're doing. It's about the assessment and kind of the interview at the very beginning. So when someone starts, when you start with a new personal training client, we want to learn a lot more about where they currently are. And so there's a lot more of a deep dive into current habits, what their obstacles are, where they want to go. And, we talk about the roadmap and to really effectively get there as fast, like we're talking about get there faster, is having a beginning point and an ending point where we're trying to go. And now once we know those beginning and ending, now we can create the map that gets you the best way. Otherwise, we're just kind of going in circles and wandering around the countryside, which is fun sometimes, but not when you're trying to get a result and see a change in your life. And so really understanding the factors that are going to play early on can really help us build out the right plan to get you to that finish line, or at least progressing to the next stop a little bit faster. Because I don't know that there's ever a finish line, right? There's just the next stop in the journey. And you'll hear us say journey a lot as you listen to us. And this is just the starting point. We build off of it to get to the next checkpoint. And okay, all right, where do we go from here on the next one? So I think the surprising thing is that the level at which we really dive in early on to learn more about people and really see what they're starting with.
I think another aspect for our facility and how we've built FitELITE is even from a private training or if you're in a class, the connection of vast array of people. So even if you're a private training, I've worked in other facilities where it's really like it can be stale. I've worked in it where they're not connecting with other people. Well, you see people that are even private training connecting with people in the classes when they're going on at the same. I think that's a surprising dynamic for people, which is an awesome thing to watch and see, and those people connecting.
It's not just head down, everybody doing their own thing.
Yeah. Right. It was just kind of a cool little like a bonus benefit. Like I always give like the little bonuses people get in personal training. One of them are like singing to some of the songs. That's a bonus that you get also. But the other is like connection with people inside class and other coaches. You come for personal training and private coaching, yet you also are getting this benefit of connection with a group. Kind of cool. I would say that another area that maybe people don't think about necessarily is that we focus a lot on that functional style of training as opposed to machine training. So I think a lot of people, when they look at personal training, have seen it more in a bigger gym setting where you've seen a lot more machine based, which there's a place for that for certain things, but just our belief system and what we see from a overall movement of humans is that functional based training really helps them stay strong for life, right? In the now and into the future. So
I know as we're touching base and we're talking about connecting with classes and with private training, I think another piece that surprises people is, and we talked about that. What does it look like when they come in here to FitELITE? Even if you're not being privately trained by this coach, you got 4 other coaches saying hello to you,
right?
And that connection piece there. I think that's an important piece too. I think it's a surprising piece. Some people can walk in and you say their name and they're like, I have no idea who you are, but they're saying hi to me by name.
Right.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
A pleasant surprise for sure.
Okay. Let's talk about how we get those specific results. So if we were to have, let's say, a 50-year-old female coming in, hasn't exercised in like 15 years. And when she was exercising, she was doing mostly cardio, your cardio bunny. And she wants to be around for grandkids. Kids are going into college. She wants to be around for grandkids. She's thinking ahead. How would you start building her up to be able to set that up for her life?
Well, I think, obviously with that consultation, you're finding like what you're just saying, like age, experience, some of the things that we always want to know is like, what's the journey been like with health and wellness? Meaning, have you dealt with surgeries, illnesses? What are those factors? I think those are all the important pieces to the and to scale it for that individual to start where they're at in their journey. I think the why, which you just said, like if it's for grandchildren, I think that's a big, huge piece to like that private training, or if you're in the class style. I mean, that's important. Understanding, having them shape their why. They might have a general why, but like peeling back the layers of, I need to find out that deep rooted why. That would be the beginning steps to that. What do you want to call it? A consultation with that client and where they want to go.
Yeah. To build out what Dave's saying, I like to start with a 1 rep max on all the lifts. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You start with baby steps, right? And I have that conversation with a lot of people that it's a marathon, not a sprint. And so, understand that there's progress along the way and a little bit more in the beginning. But the other thing I like to do is really tie everything back. So he talks about that why. I think people want to sometimes know why they're doing certain movements, right? And so I might say, if I have a client who really enjoys adventures, right? Like he travels a lot and wants to hike or go up, do all these things. Like we're doing box splits. Hey, this is going to help you when you're hiking with your family. Mount Kilimanjaro. I don't know, like which would not surprise me, by the way, with this individual. But like when you're out doing these things, this is for that. Or we're doing this because it's going to help in this area of your life. Or if we're doing some kind of like, tall and kneeling to standing, this is like when you're down with the grandkids playing and getting up and being able to do that for longer. And just so kind of relating what we're doing back to like their. And so if we are doing, one thing that I'll talk more about with especially clients that are a little bit older is we do like these power movements and like, why are we doing like, why would we do this afterwards? Like, interestingly enough, like studies have been showing that one of the big signals of longevity and a longer health span is power output, like the ability to jump and throw. And that's shown that actually ties back. And they're, oh, okay, then I'll do this stuff. But they just want to know the why behind a lot of that sort of thing. So I have to tie it back into where they are and what their goals are that Dave talked about in that consultation. So there's a purpose behind what we're doing. We're not just throwing some random workout at them just because.
Yeah.
No 1 rep maxes. Not in the beginning. I was just, not ever. If I'm being honest with you, I don't ever really do that.
I don't really think, for the people that we've trained and I've trained historically, a 1 rep max is just not something that they need to do.
No, some people want to know their bench press 1 rep max. Some of the guys want like, what am I benching here?
Well, it's a risk reward, right?
100%. Yeah.
That's the key.
Yeah.
What risk involved?
Right. I think that's something that makes us different is we're thinking about that risk reward for you. Right? We're not just saying, hey, let's go do a 1 rep max back squat, right, and then we'll do a clean and jerk,
right,
and we'll do our total.
And go back to the why, right?
Right.
Why do you want to do it?
Right.
And start having the conversation as to why.
Yep. Yeah. Very true.
And that's not to say that we aren't going to push you to build muscle and to build strength, but there's a different way of doing it.
Right. It's not necessary to do it the way we described. Yep.
The risk reward is what we're thinking about.
Right.
Is this going to injure you? Are you going to be more consistent because you're not doing that?
Right.
You're not so sore you can't even get on the toilet. Yeah, so that's a lot of the things that we think about when we're making these programs for people, and we're trying to get you from A to B, and make you think about things in a different way than maybe what you see on social media.
Right.
Oh yeah.
We all see the highlight reels on social media. Oh, look at that guy do that cool thing, or this crazy dangerous thing on standing on a barbell and squatting.
I do that a lot. Like, hey, so I saw this video about this thing. I'm like, well, okay, I get it. Here's what it's trying to accomplish. And I just go, you think that's going to help you get where you want to go? I don't know. Well, we can do this thing that we're already doing or could add in that essentially does the same thing for you without, it being crazy like this over here or, not crazy even, but more extreme, let's say. So we can still get you where you want to go and we'll do some cool stuff.
So what if somebody is like very unsure? They haven't been doing personal training or any sort of exercise because they're very unsure about lifting weights. Like, is this safe for me? What is the risk reward for me to do that? I don't even know if I can do it safely. What do you say to somebody like that?
Well, I think that I run. So I work with a lot of kids too. And that was one of the questions I will get a lot of times is this safe for kids to be lifting weights? And I think the answer to that question is similar to the answer for adults. Yeah, it's all safe, supervised, done correctly with understanding and knowing proper form and technique and how to layer things together and what a proper progression looks like from where do I start to where do I go next. Is it safe for someone who's never lifted weights to really dive right into a back squat or a deadlift? I mean, the answer is not maybe, but we'll probably err on the side of let's regress here a little bit. And when I say regress, I don't mean less effective. I mean just different movement pattern that can get them progressing into something we want to do later on, right? If we want to get somebody to be able to deadlift, let's for example, well, rather than just put them on a barbell right off the bat and trying to lift while they're strong enough to lift the weight, they might be able to do it to a good form. So let's back it down. Let's start with kettlebells or dumbbells. Let's start with a trap bar. Let's go to a deadlift off of plates so it's not the full range of motion all the way to the ground where the issues happen. I think the answer is, yeah, it's safe. We can do it, but we have to be smart about how you approach things.
Yeah, I've talked many times with clients that there's about, you get the question about safety and all that when they're starting. Because I always have the example of, as we're born, eventually get up and walk. It's all progression. Like you already said the word progression. It's just starting off trying to figure out where that person's at and where their strength is on a particular movement. How well they move is a big thing, in our assessments that we do on these individuals as they come in. Assess them, find them where they're at, and then continue to move forward, have the conversations about why this is safe and what the benefit they're going to get from it.
Yeah. And quite frankly, there's a lot of safety issues with not strength training, right? Like there's things that come up when you can gain a lot of safety and benefit from being stronger, from building lean muscle mass. And so I think that's the other side of it. Is the counter is being unsafe because I'm not strong enough to do certain things that I want to do, right? So, and I can get injured lifting something into the back of my car. Whereas if I have gotten trained and gotten stronger, now I can do that without hurting myself doing the other thing, or save myself from a fall, or as I go hiking with friends, like being safe going up and down a hillside or whatever. So there's safety issues to not doing it.
Yeah, I think that's, I know I might be going off on a tangent. I think about like gyms, the style that we do. And when I'm out talking about like the style of strength training that we do, it's even in the class, it's a pseudo private training session because we are teaching mechanics to functional movement that you don't really get. So when you buy a membership, you go to another gym, you walk in, you don't know what you're doing. So whether you're doing our classes or you're doing private training, you're going to get a level of learning about technique and movement pattern that I've seen it, I've trained kids from 7 years old up and now they're 27 and I'm still training. And just where they can go anywhere in the world and train at any facility. I don't care if it's one with lots of machines or if it's a functional based. It's just, that's one of the big factors, whether we're talking about private training or classes. You're just going to get a level of care and understanding and a learning curve on movement, which is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
You're going to progress to your results.
Yep.
So I kind of want to layer this in now. So we've talked about at the very beginning, the intake. So when you're coming in, we're understanding you, who you are, what you've done, your purpose, your why for this. And then we talked about how do we get you started to where we want to go. And so we talked about regressing from a back squat to something different. And so that's based off what we know that you've done. So if you've done any exercise at all. So if you have, what is your base? And we're probably going to assess you moving through that movement. So if it is back squat and you've done it before, we want to see you do it. You might have been doing it, but maybe you didn't do it right. And maybe you have some back issues because of that, or hip issues because of that. So we want to see you do it. And that way we can tell, okay, maybe we don't start with a back squat. Maybe we go to a goblet squat instead, or an air squat, because you're just detrained and you haven't been doing this for a while. So you need to really back off to build you up slowly. Otherwise, you are going to be on that toilet and you're going to be like, I can't get off.
Right.
So I think I wanted to make sure we're layering that back in, like this whole journey and this whole podcast, we've been talking about how we start with you, what the questions we're asking you, how we're assessing you, how we're building that program. So how do we fit that all together? And that's, I think, a really important piece of what we all talked about right here is just like, this is why we do those things. This is why we have the order that we do these things. And this is how we get you from A to B.
Right. Yeah. And I think to your point, you and I talked about this earlier today, just having certain metrics that we can kind of quantify a little bit of the work there. So it might be we're doing in-body and it might be a body composition thing, or it might be showing that we gained lean muscle mass. It might be that someone started and they could not do a push-up and now they can do 5 push-ups. It might never been able to do a pull-up and now they can do a pull-up. Those things all make me feel like the client, me too, actually, feel really good. You feel a certain way. With all these things, I also have more energy. But when I can say to somebody and they're like, "Ah, man, that was tough." I'm like, "Yeah, but well, remember 3 months ago when you couldn't do a push-up and now we're doing 5 here. And so while that was tough, 3 months ago, you couldn't do any." Or we did dumbbell bench press and, you started and you were doing 25-pound dumbbells or 15-pound dumbbells and now you're up to like 50s for a guy or, whatever. Really have that, because we track all of our workouts in an app, but I think we all do. Yeah. I have it in there. So now I have the data from ever for people. And you can say, look at this. Remember when we did this a while ago? Like, look how far you've come. Because it's easy when you're in it to not realize it or forget about it. But to set those little reminders and have your wins along the way, that's a great piece that we can add are those wins along the way to help them know the work is paying off. It's worth something.
So like even using numbers like that, Shane, the quantify.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll give you an example. And you and I were just in the meeting just a little while ago. So a client that's on a vacation right now. And when he first came, he had whether it be 100 meters, to walk 100 meters was not awesome for him. And now he's on a really awesome vacation, and him and his wife are walking. Right. And he's just so thankful of having that ability to do that. Another example, about 5 years in with a client, and this person couldn't even squat to parallel. Now this person's squatting with a kettlebell in hand and holding it in an iso hold for up to 2 minutes, right, and being able to set that down and get out of the position, without pain. So there's so many different facets to watching people progress in what they do. Yeah. And obviously it lights us up, right, because we're doing what we're passionate about, but you get to see them change in their lives.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a huge piece of what we do. Actually, that's super surprising is we take away pain. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You may think you have to go to a chiropractic doctor or whatever to take away pain, but it could be is you just need to build strength.
Right. Yeah. No, I would agree. I think that's all those areas have their role, but it might be, you're right. It might be with a person who couldn't squat to parallel, just a little bit more, probably some work in mobility and time under tension and just a little bit at a time. It's like everything in life. Everything in life is a little bit at a time, small steps forward that really make these big leaps and bounds over time. And the important thing is to recognize those. And like I said, I think it's our own human nature to not recognize those things or to dismiss them. But I think as a coach, it's important to make sure that we're bringing these things up, we're highlighting these things for them, because when you do those things, you feel better and you're going to do more based on that. And so I think that's it's a big deal to celebrate those things.
Compounding interest.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all I wanted to cover today.
Well, that was easy.
That was easy.
Pretty simple. So what I hear you saying is, when you want to go into a group class or personal training, or you're not sure which one, get a hold of us and we'll help you figure it out. Is that what you're saying? Perfect. Exactly. Perfect.
Yeah. Want to create change.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's for, yeah, for sure. And that's like, Dave mentioned, that's everything from, younger kids and athletes all the way up to people in their 70s plus, coming in and making sure, because it's never too late to start and you don't have to be fit to get started. You just need to come in the door. I know that's the one we hear a lot, but I think you just need to come in the door. You are where you are. Let's get you going from there and let's move you forward to where you want to go.
Yeah. You don't have to work out for 3 months on your own before you can come sign up for personal training.
It's like everybody who cleans their house before the cleaner comes. Like it's just super common.
It is way more common than I thought.
It's super common. However, say it out loud. It sounds ridiculous. So let's just get started. Doesn't matter where you're starting. Get started, no matter what it is, even if it's just going for your walks. Start moving and do it today. Do it today.
Movement is medicine.
Yep.
Motion is lotion.
There we go. All right, guys. That's it for the episode 3 of the FitELITE podcast. So thanks for joining us again. Share it with your friends. If you think somebody might connect with somebody, subscribe to our channel. You get all these things all the time. And if you have any questions or about what we do here or things health related or fitness related, just reach out to us. Happy to talk to you guys. Thanks.